Tall Tales, Episode 4, The Stars of a Thief. Now you want to activate this quest at North Star Sea Post. North Star Sea Post. And it's a pretty good quest. This one can also get a little frustrating. Now, starts off pretty simple. You're going to talk to this guy. And, per usual, he's going to give you a book. Now, the first part of this quest, yes, very easy. He says, saw an island where we parted, with his back to the North Star. One small island made of two. It's right next door. Beneath the tree, between the two largest rocks. Twin Groves, just south of North Star Sea Post. Now, it might send you somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure there's only one or two locations. But the first 2 pages of the book are going to tell you basically how to kick this quest off. You can't get anywhere on this quest without having the magical spyglass. Now, after you have that dug up, and you have the spyglass in hand, should give you a quick crash course on how the spyglass works. You look up at the sky, even it doesn't have to be nighttime, it can be day or night, and there's all sorts of constellations and the stars around you. Now that's insignificant for now. Put that on the back burner. We're not there yet, but that's what the spyglass does. Now, you see me pulling up at Lone Cove here. The next part of the book, they call out Lonely Isle, but that's not where you want to go. It's an island near Lonely Isle that has a pillar in the dead center of it. Now, don't let that bird confuse you on top of the pillar. That's part of the story. It says the great eagle is said to never have landed. So you're looking for an island with a pillar in the middle of it, but not one that... There's not going to be a bird statue sitting on the top of it, but as you can see, Lone Cove, there's that pillar right in the center of the graveyard, in the middle of the island. And we ended up finding the jewel by one of these gateways near the central main graveyard, and near that pillar as well. So we find the jewel, head back to the boat, and we're on to the next part of the mission. Now that first page called out Kraken Watchtower, and once again, your quest may be different. But this is where the constellations and the spyglass come into play. They're going to tell you a starting point, and when you just get somewhat near that starting point, you don't actually have to go to the island where it says to start. It says follow the feather. And then our next step was, after you follow the feather, head towards the arrow in the sky. Now you're just going to have to search for him. Saw a feather falling to nearby spire. We did that. It took us near Shipwreck Bay, but there was a boat there. And then the arrow, coming from the direction of where the feather was, the arrow led us to an uncharted island on the map. And one of the clues was also deep in an underwater cave. And it brought us here. This quest can be very frustrating. This took some time to figure out. So be patient. So we end up finding another jewel. So now we have 2 of those. And the next page in the book shows the Tiki Statue from the very first mission that is at N13, Nancy 13, the island that I got trolled at in the very first video, the Shroud Breaker. In that underwater lair, there is a statue down there. And I see a galleon over there, an island away. I decide to make my move. The problem is a lot of the ships in this area are all doing these new quests, so you got to be careful when you go down here, especially if you're playing alone. Now, I get down here. I place the jewels into the statue. Now, if the area is quiet and you have someone watching out, you don't have to leave. I had a bad feeling that galleon was on its way, and so I got out of there, and I happened to be right. There they are, right there at N13. The second I came up out of the water, they were steaming over there. Now, I don't know if they were going to attack me or not, but regardless, I knew I had to do the next step before I went back to where I just was. So now, all these little notes about the constellations. The proud eagle never lands. All these great kraken, old mother chained by ancients. All these mean something. Now, teamwork helps on this one. Your puzzle is likely going to be different than mine, but now you're going to see what I'm talking about. Okay, the final page. This story, every 4 sentences equals 1 code. You're going to eventually end up in one of those puzzle rooms, and you're going to need to decipher the code. And it helps if you have a friend looking at all the symbols on those other pages while you read them the steps. So Old Mother was angry. That means the first clue is Kraken. And so on and so forth. You're going to need to look at the symbol, compare what the callouts are underneath those symbols on those earlier pages to figure out what the answers are going to be for your puzzle. Now I'm about to show you a screen that you might want to pause the video on if this helps you sort out your puzzle. So either way, the galleon finally leaves. I come back to Nancy 13. I'm trying to find where you place that totem. There we go. Now, I had thought that I solved the story properly, and I wrote it down. I had a little notepad next to me. I wrote down what I thought the answers were, and I ended up coming across a slight problem. You'll see. Okay, Old Mother was angry. Kraken. Who is the Kraken's friend? That lady, whoever that is. She protected those who rode by hand. So I was thinking the Sea Queen was the protector, but the clue there is rode by hand. So the answer ends up being that boat, I believe. But that one was a 50-50 for me. I wasn't sure. And then who were sailing out on warmer seas? The Flame was my last one for the first code. So I'm sitting there trying to figure it out. I'm asking my teammate who's watching out, saying, hey, I'm not seeing what I expected to see here. I'm convinced I have it right. I was right. I'm on part 2. Without landing. That was an eagle. The singer, snakes sing. It says in the books, singing snake. Vessel was the boat. Protected by an eternal warrior was the warrior. That one was fairly easy. So you gotta enter the 2 codes correctly, and you did it. Now, I've been talking to people, a lot of people I talked to did not have the same code as me, so be prepared to adjust on the fly. But once you complete that, you're gonna head back to North Star Sea Post. In this mission, I gotta say, this is the last mission that I would say can be frustrating. The ones after this are just getting funner and funner with more entertaining mechanics and stuff. You'll see in the upcoming vids if you haven't saw them yet. But yeah, you head back to Suds, give him what you found, and you're on to the next one.
I'll pass along that pretty gem of yours in return. Old Suds won't forget.
And I'd tell you, spoiler alert, but I think it's I'm a little late, and I'm not doing the voiceover again, so sorry. Got him.
Need to